Call the meeting to order. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the September 12th, 2023 regular select board meeting.
Second.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
5-0. Additions and deletions. Correspondence from the state of Vermont regarding the Peterson Farm. Confirm on a sand contract. Town hall use request for Valley Cares. Town hall use request for a community holiday party. Those are all new things, or except for the contract. That's old business. And John, do you have anything for us? Anything?
No.
Okay, and the correspondence we have from the state of Vermont. That's next. And if this is the right one, this one is where they're looking to confirm.
It's just to notify you.
Notify. Okay. This is from the state of Vermont. Apparently in 2019, the board voted in favor of some parcels of land going into, what's this, the protective or the trust, conservation trust? Rob, do you remember anything about this? Can you give us an update on it?
Basically, the Lars Peterson and the Townshend Farm, Inc., they turned their land over to the Conservancy and basically makes it so that the land, they can't develop the land, a certain amount of it. So they left some land out around their houses or around the road or whatever and conserved the rest and makes it so that it will stay woods or field or whatever it is for the duration of time, which can be a good thing and a bad thing, because if you have all sorts of conserved land, then you have no way to build the town. You're left with what you have there. So.
Well, the letter in essence is just because it hasn't moved for a while. They're just letting us know that they're going to start wherever they're going to start.
Well, I think that's for another piece. It's for Lars Peterson, or for Peterson Farm, is what this next one is. The other ones have already been put in and are conserved. So.
Is there any problem? Is there anything that would make this open for discussion? Or do we leave it on with the last ruling of the board in 2019?
I don't think there's anything that we can do. So we either give it our amen or we don't.
All right.
It's not like there's nothing that we can really say to them.
It's already done.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
All right. Then that's fine. Okay. Let's go on to warrants.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the warrants. Number 1, payroll in the amount of $11,122.97. Number 2, payroll taxes in the amount of $4,752.58. Number 3, general fund in the amount of $6,525.47. Number 4, highway in the amount of $211,878.96. Number 5, highway equipment in the amount of $1,770.84. Number 6, West River Modified Union in the amount of $681,086.59 for a total of $917,137.41.
Okay. The motion's made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Do we have discussion on that? You looking at it?
I
You all right
just,
with
if somebody needed an explanation of why it's so high, I'd give one.
Okay.
If they don't, oh,
I mean, I would be curious about the explanation of the highway.
$65,000 went to West Hill, shoring up the banks on the river and the road. $76,000 went to shoring up the Wyndham Hill stuff through Hunter. $53,000 was shoring up Simpson Brook Road. And there's $88,257 for right maintenance on the tree removal on West Hill.
So what those are storm related expenses that we're going to forward through FEMA to get them taken care of. All right.
And
so,
a lot of that, sorry.
No, go ahead.
That was discussed at last meetings in terms of contracts and.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
big open
Yeah, we
bids.
opened all the bids and everything.
Great.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Phoebe, are you gonna abstain because of the school?
At this time, yes.
Okay, so 4-1. Okay. Highway. You're on the spot, mister.
What would you like to hear?
We didn't finish out the warrants.
Oh, I thought okay. Hang on just a minute. Moving too fast. Okay, all those, why, yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Because she abstained.
Of everything? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought we were at the two. Sorry.
I was interested in hearing more of the highway breakdown. And my understanding is the West River is related to schools and the school budget.
West River?
West River Modified Union?
Yeah, that's the town, that's the
Yeah.
budget that we
Yeah.
pay every quarter. Yeah. That's why you abstained.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah. Just confirming that we went through that.
all right, did we solve that or what?
At least.
All right. How are things been going?
Good. Just getting equipment worked on. Just put some gravel in today, getting some of the roads graded back up to where they should be. We're gonna start replacing culverts this week, ones that are in desperate need of it. And other than that, that's all I got.
The sign up in West Townsend.
That I had a question.
Okay,
So the sign just north of the intersection is a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. Can we hang that solar stuff on that sign, or do we have to put a holding post in?
nope,
Okay,
that,
so
they're
we're just,
all on state posts now, anyway.
okay,
The permit we got allows us to hang them just as long as you copy the way the thing is right now.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was just waiting. I tried calling you the other day to get some clarity on that.
I saw that and it was after hours and then I just blanked on it.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Do you mind sharing what culverts you're gonna be replacing?
We have two on back Wyndham Road that are failed and were a major cause of most of the washout damage up there, just above the tap farm. And one on Winslow Drive that was another one that's failed and was caused some of the erosion on Winslow. I have one on East Hill on the Harmonyville end. And I only have enough to do about 8 culverts anyway, so I'm gonna just work on the ones that are the worst ones and the ones that keep causing issues. So
And will the roads be closed or is there gonna be?
very temporary. We try to get at least half the road back open as soon as we can, but in some cases, like the one on East Hill, we'll close it for the whole. But we don't put out signs. So.
Anybody else have a question? Okay. All right, and the equipment, how is that working out? you had the issue with the bucket loader and
The backhoe,
Backhoe.
we finished fixing the leaky hoses on it this morning, or this afternoon, we got it back together. So, and there's a truck at Catamount right now, the spare one. And I got another truck that's gotta go to DJ's to have a axle seal fixed, so. And the 1 ton just came back this morning. We need to do some work on that before we send it to the body shop.
Do we have an idea when they're gonna start paving out here?
Last time I talked to Jeff Marsden, he said either the first or second week in October. So that's another question. Who do we contact at Grace Cottage? And who do we contact at the high school to let them know there will be no parking on the road during paving time?
I would call the principal's office as far as the high school. They have kind of control of that, their student and teacher population. You also might want to touch base with the elementary school, but sometimes they're out there. And the hospital, I don't know, what's the
Doug?
Doug.
Davila?
Doug DeVilla, yeah.
I think if you, as from experience, if you call the main number at the high school and just inform whoever calls, like whoever answers the call, and let them know.
I've given Anthony Bingham, or not Anthony, but Mike Bingham, some notice. He's the head of maintenance there.
Yeah,
So he just said to get ahold of him. I didn't know if I should let the office know as well.
Yeah.
So
one or the other should.
I haven't gotten a definite day of start yet from them. So last time I talked to them, they were behind, so they're trying to catch up.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Now, treasurer's report, where did I find that? That's right here. In true fund balance, there is $267,738 available to us. And of course, that's the time you need a magnifying glass to see it. And in the accounts, the actual number in the account is $2,317,769.38 with a $30,000 checking account. Town clerk submitted the total from the walk-ins services, $1,414. All right, now,
1,400.
yeah, 1,414. Thank you. I don't have anything in open session, but I'll have some things for our executive session later on. So the first thing on old business is the road name change policy. And Rob has been working on that. So why don't you give us a read of the actual policy?
Sure. Thank you, Sherwood. So in your packet, you'll find the proposed road name change policy. I've worked researching through the Brattleboro planning technician and E911 coordinator, as well as I've done some research with the state in their provided documents and guidelines. There's even a checklist for our E911 coordinator, so it kind of streamlines the whole process. You want me to read the whole policy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I mean, let's make it public.
All right. So this is proposed. It's still a draft. We haven't voted. Item 1. It is the policy of the Town of Townsend to consider all changes of road names submitted by applicants through Town of Townsend's E911 coordinator. Submissions will be reviewed by the Selectboard during a publicly warned meeting. The town has established this road name change policy for decisions related to road name change requests. Item 2, definitions. 1, applicant shall mean the Townsend resident requesting road name change. 2, road name shall mean any road address within town of Townsend. 3, E911 coordinator shall mean the individual voted or appointed by the town of Townsend who maintains the town's enhanced 911 information. 4, town managed road means any road within Townsend that is managed and maintained by the town. 5, private road shall mean any road within Townsend that is managed and maintained by the property owner. And procedures is item 3. So the first, applicant must submit their request to Town of Townsend E911 coordinator. Request is to include reasoning for a proposed road name change in a formal letter addressed to E911 coordinator and select board. Priority will be given to citizens with proven or potential service interruptions from emergency services or mail services. 2, E911 coordinator will submit request and GIS or 911 dispatch manager approval for select board review. 4, select board will consider requests in a timely manner and vote. And step 5, E911 coordinator will complete State of Vermont provided E911 coordinator checklist and submit to the select board when completed. And item 5 would just be a few rules. The town managed road name change will be selected by the select board from a state approved list of potential road names. 2, the private road name change will be selected by the select board from a list of 3 at minimum proposed names provided by the property owner. And the last rule, historic roads are not eligible for name change.
Okay. Any questions for Rob? And do we need to drill this down anymore?
And I just want to reiterate, anything that I put in this, I did get from the state guidelines, and then I also spoke with town of Brattleboro, and it seems in line, but our projected deadline, I guess, is until next month, so there's still some wiggle room to adjust or make changes if you guys feel it's needed.
Okay. Again, any further questions for Rob about this?
Should we define historic? What we would consider historic?
I think
What was that?
I believe they're
Would we need
registered.
to- Would we need to define what we would consider historic?
that's what we call Charlie.
Yeah.
So could we say historic registered roads?
On the historic registry, yeah, that makes sense.
Just for clarity.
And then there's just no number 3 on procedures. Under
Oh.
procedures, it's 1, 2, 4, and 5. So.
Thank you, Katie.
And it looks like John has something.
Oh, hey, John.
I understand if it's a private road, 3 names can be submitted and the select board decides.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's the proposed.
Is that the state, is that from the state?
No, it's actually at the discretion of the board. From my conversation with the planning coordinator in Brattleboro, that's how they handle their basically requests from townspeople.
But it's a private land, it's a private road,
Yeah.
and the people that own the land and the road can't decide what to call the road.
I believe that there's some room to wiggle because, for example, if somebody gives us a proposed road name change and it matches something else too closely they're not aware of, it gives us options to handle it in a more expedited way. And those 3 names could be very similar. You know, they could be a combination of the same words in different organized ways or completely different depending on what they're thinking.
John, I see the question marks
Yeah.
bubbling up over your head. What are you thinking
Yeah,
of?
I'm emphasizing it's private land, private road, but you can't name it what you want to name it necessarily.
Well, I think there's a difference between, like, if you put in a road or something like that on your land and you needed to name it, or if it's a piece of land that was a property that, you know, say I bought a property that had a private, and that had already been named, and you want to change the name of the road. I think that was what we were trying to work out over the past couple months with this, at least with the private aspect of it.
Yeah, the kind of impetus is a Townshend resident came to us. He's got a private road. He even bought the sign for his own road. He maintains it, does everything. So that would be kind of a different rule. As opposed to a town managed road, we would pick the name. Yeah.
But in the private
One-
road, the owner submits the 3 names
Correct.
they want.
Yeah, it would be up to the owner of the private road. Yeah.
To
To
submit
submit
for
the
the
3 potential names.
Correct. And this is again what I've learned from other towns. It's kind of arbitrary. I think we have room to.
So
you
what
know, alter
happens
that.
if we end up a situation, private road, piece of property gets sold on it, they want to change the name, few years down the road, gets sold again, they want to change the name, and then we're right back to this thing where we gotta go through and change maps, 911 stuff, all this other stuff. And you're getting into chasing your tail around in a circle on something that was already named.
I agree with you, and I think that's a big part of why we wanted to put something like this together, is that there is potential for maybe something like that happening. I think that with our chain of command, more or less, we have our E911 coordinator heading any of these requests. So there's one line of filtering. And then also there is a line in here that the formal written request to us and the coordinator should include a valid reason, which might be interruption of service, whether that be emergency services or mail. So if they do have a valid reason, I think, you know, that's worth addressing. If it keeps happening, then there's a trend we need to figure out with our, you know, the first point of contact.
I do like that for the private road, it includes the owner submitting name requests of, and that the select board can discuss whether or not that's relevant. You know, I will say, when the resident was made aware to us that it was a private drive, for me personally, like, that significantly changes things. Yet I really like that this creates an opportunity for residents to submit a few suggestions. And while there could be some complications with those roads changing ownership over time and over years, resulting in the possibility of name changes, but if they're going through this process, it will result in like a continuous service, a continuous like checks and balances of any road name changes, so that there's at least some checks and balances within the 911 coordinator, etc., and it's not just a random naming opportunity. Because again, like the submissions around what may be precipitating that change are, to me, very relevant. Like not being able to get mail accurately delivered, not being able to get packages accurately delivered, but yet preserving the sanctity of road names and the historic nature of them. Anyway, I appreciate that. I feel like this has covered a lot of that.
Great, thanks. Good feedback.
I do wonder, I used to own a property in Newfane that I owned the road, but there was shared use and shared responsibility on the road where I had 2 neighbors that basically were allowed to use my road to get to their houses. What if I had wanted to change the name of that in terms of it's my private property? It's my road, but do those other residents that have a right to get their mail and everything like that, or get any say
Right,
in
like
me changing the name of the road.
Well,
You know what I mean?
Multi-residence private drives.
I think there's a lot of like, there's a lot of things that come up with the private road aspect of it, because the knee-jerk reaction is it's private property and you maintain it and you pay for it, you should be able to do whatever you want with it. And I think we've heard from some members of the public that feel that way, and I quickly want to agree with that, but I also think that sometimes it affects more people, or the name has been that name for 50 years or something like that, and I think it isn't as simple of a answer, you know. Not that I'm not saying this is simple, but this is the discussion it's bringing up for me when I think about it from all angles.
Yeah, and that is addressed in the state-provided E911 coordinator checklist.
Okay.
Part of their duty after everything is said and done is everybody is notified via mail, including anybody who lives on the street who is affected, or postal service, the emergency services. Everybody is notified, but as far as them being part of the decision-making, I haven't really touched on that. I'd be open to, you know.
I got a way to make it really easy. Just don't change the names. Keep them the same.
Right.
Whatever they bought the place as, that's what it is. If it's a new road,
That
we come up with a name.
That would make things easier,
Other than
but
that,
ultimately, if
You
there's
got what
any,
you got, and that's
yeah.
what it is.
If there's any concern of emergency services not getting to someone's house, it needs to be addressed, is my personal opinion.
How many times has that happened?
It only needs to happen once.
Yeah, but what my point is that it hasn't happened. So we're back to that hypothetical of they
But-
could crash
It
on the
hasn't.
corner if they go
But-
off the road, but if they stay on the road, they won't crash.
I will.
Or whatever the
in-
deal is. I understand what you're saying, but you can't be a
What am I
traveling
saying?
nomad and think that your mail's always gonna make it. You've been through where you can't get your mail and this and that, and it's like,
I'm not
I
a
mean,
nomad.
if you,
Like
well,
my
traveling.
Sure, but like my experience of not being able to get my mail, that's real. And so being able to get consistent mail service is a real like citizen's right. And it has nothing to do with me being a nomad or me like living in multiple places. But what I'm saying is like, if there's, so 911 might be able to get to you. And if you can't consistently get your mail, when you're talking about paychecks, when you're talking about taxes, when you're talking about like essential forms, my nomadic lifestyle has nothing to do with the fact that it's a real unfortunate problem that people can't always get what they need via the mail. And if there's something as a town we can do to increase people's security of getting safe access to their actual postage.
I don't know, I've lived at my place for 21 years and
I live right there and I still can't. I
never
can't
had a
get
problem getting my stuff.
I can't
Yes, there's been
physically
problems
get mail
before
right
with
there.
like I get somebody else's mail and you respectfully put it back in, put the flag up or whatever the deal is.
I don't have a mailbox.
Well, and Rob, to address your concern, there
don't
is
have one at
another
all?
filter.
I have,
When it comes to the select board, it is up to the select
Oh, I
board
understand.
ultimately.
That's the
So,
difference of
so if it comes down to
practice
it,
and
you think it's frivolous or you think it's not necessary, that, you know, that's the stopping point.
Yep.
The idea of just never changing a road name doesn't seem like it's possible to me. I don't know if that's an option. I don't think it's an option.
Well, I mean, if there was something more, I mean, if there was like an outcry where it was like one right after another and there was real problems that were happening, then
But
I
you
can
don't want to see
understand.
those come to the board. You don't want that. I mean, I don't want that to happen.
Well, what I'm saying is that we could get into a situation where it goes around and around and around and around. And it's like, to me, I look at it and it's not, I don't see
I
it
respect
being
I respect what you're saying. I do. I think that, and there's something to be said for keeping things the way that they have been. I really appreciate that about living here. But yeah, I see both sides.
Just want to interject one thing. As far as 911 goes and being able to find somebody, with more and more that the cell phone infrastructure expands, there's going to be less hands-on phones at the property to have you there. You dial that thing up and you're not able to tell them where you are. Not gonna be easy to find them, whether, you know, they're at home or not. 90% of the stuff that I do, even from my house with a regular phone, goes through my cell phone. Just what I do, it's handy and it's right with me. So I'm not sure in this day and age if 911 emergencies is as important as they were 10 years ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
because of technological
Yeah.
advances,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
I agree with that. And again, like, I feel like part of the reason I'm here is because I offer a unique perspective. My actual residence of 1889 Vermont Route 30 is not a registered address. 1849 Vermont Route 30 is a registered address. So I still can't get certain deliveries to my own home because it's not a registered address based on some, I don't understand what it is. So all I'm saying is like something as simple as living in like downtown Townsend, I still can't get packages delivered to my residence because I have a primary PO box per the town because they don't offer mail delivery service this close to town. Yet it's not a registered address with UPS, FedEx, etc. So if I'm trying to get actual certified mail to my home, I don't live in a registered address. Is that my fault? Because I secured a rental at a place with an unregistered address? Maybe. But I can't get shipments or deliveries to my house depending on what it is. Therefore, when it comes to pieces like this, I'm much more predisposed to be understanding of the owner where they want to get secure deliveries.
Okay, we can go around and around with this for days. Let's put it this way. Does the policy meet what we need? That would be number one. And two, does the board want to move forward with a motion to make it effective? So I would think about whether this thing is ready for prime time or it needs to be, using a term that I've heard before, kicked down the road, or do we call for a vote now and move forward?
I would like to, in the aftermath of this discussion that we just had, I would like to wait a meeting and hopefully some members of the public will come and weigh in, because I appreciated hearing from Irv, I appreciate hearing from John. Obviously I appreciate what you've done. And I would love to hear from more people, especially members of the public, on how they feel about it, because when Rob asked Irv how he felt about it, that like brought up a new thing that I hadn't thought about at the time. And I think I'm not ready to vote, but I hope that more people show up and talk about it.
Okay. Support for that?
I'm with you, yeah, I'll make these small changes, wait for more input, and then we're still, October will come.
Phoebe?
I especially like the discussion around multi-residence private drive and how to handle that
Yeah.
scenario of like, but yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of the owners, like supporting owners and the town
Yeah, but
to make
Phoebe,
sure.
we're not talking about that. We're talking just about what Katie said, which is wait a week or wait till the next meeting to get more input from
So,
the general
yes,
public.
yes,
That's it.
as
Okay.
well as, you know, the multi-resident piece that
Yeah,
came
we'll do
up
more
tonight.
research, we'll keep talking about it.
Rob?
Sounds good.
Okay, we'll move on. We'll wait for another 2 weeks. Anybody that has issue with this should come in and talk about it at the next meeting, and we'll move forward wherever we're at. Okay? All right. right, so the next one. The next one is the town common and town hall use policy. And Phoebe, did you write this?
This was my draft.
Yeah. Make sure you take these blue things out, because you can't, when that copies, you won't be able to read it at all.
Well,
Or is it striking something?
No, those highlights were places that I feel like are warranted of discussion,
Okay,
and that I didn't want a unanimous, like, there are places of conversation versus, this is a draft.
okay,
And the highlights are specific for greater discussion about the policy. So they're not intended to stay in there permanently. They're intended to be discussions based on past policies. And I will say, looking at future, like, other documents in here regarding, some discussion about, where is it? A resolution that, I don't know, it's in the packet, could greatly change this entire policy.
okay, there's, I think we should, table this, and you'll find out why, very soon, which may change the whole issue. So let's
That
take
way.
let's take that one and put it on the table and, till next time, so that we can work on getting the rest of this done. And let's see here. That's the executive session.
Oh, I see.
And the next thing up, we've got, make sure I didn't miss anything. Sand contract. Where are we with that, Connie?
Can I just ask a real quick question? The issue of the resolution,
Which resolution?
the common resolution, we are gonna deal with that in the public section?
We're gonna come back out and deal with it.
Okay, come back up,
Yeah.
because that needs a vote.
Yeah, it does.
The sand contract, the last select board meeting, I was asked to go back to Zaluzny and confirm whether or not they were committing to 4,000 yards, cubic yards. And I did, they did commit to 4,000, but they sent a contract that only committed to $26 per cubic yard through the end of December. So I've gone back to them to see what we could get them to commit from January through March. And they came back with a quote of $26.45. So they go up, but they don't go up by a lot. It is still less than Derrick's, which is $27.80 from, for the whole winter. So I asked Sherwood just to have the select board just know about it and confirm which one, we want to go with, since there was a slight change.
Yeah. If we can get it for the 26.45, I mean, for the rest of the winter. Hey, do you know anything about how I don't even know if we've used them before,
It's
Jeremy.
not that I've either believed, it's either always been, we've had Sosco for years because they held their price for us for a long time, and then Garrett last year for the first year. And Zaluzny's new, so,
Was there an issue of checking into what the quality was of the sand? I don't
talked to
understand
Steve,
that.
last week, and it's coming from the same place it always has been, so and I've used it before, it's good sand.
Okay.
Is 4,000 cubic yards the amount we need?
That's what we budget every year, yes.
Okay.
We've been on sand for the last couple of years, but you never know. It all depends on the weather.
Okay. Then I think we've already voted on this.
We're not on the 26.45.
Okay,
That's
all right,
why
let's
I
bring
brought
that up. You've heard the discussion about the sand and the pricing. I'd entertain a motion to accept Zaluzny's as stated by Connie at 26.45 after the, what is it?
December, January 1st.
January 1st. It will go up to
Through March.
2645 through March.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
5-0. Bids on, bids for local hazard mitigation plan. I will tell you that this is something that is required by the state in order to get full compensation after a disaster. We found out that ours was out of date 2 years ago, and we had to wait until this cycle in order to get it upgraded or updated. But essentially it goes right along with the LEMP, and then you get like 17% of the, get the 17% off of what the end figure the federal government pays and the state pays. So it works out to getting close to 20% off of the actual costs inhibited by the disaster. So we have to present bids. 4 of them have come in, so that we can choose who it is that's going to do this. And didn't they say that they were paying full freight for this? They did not.
It's not full freight.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead, Katie? I have no idea where it might be in there.
Okay, so
I know.
this says RFP on it.
That's just my,
That's just you, right there? Okay,
I tried to highlight who they're from,
okay,
but I did not look at them, so I don't know what direction.
okay. All right, it's working out. The first one is from the Wyndham Regional Commission. I'm just gonna look at it for a second to see if I can figure it out. Okay. All right, it looks like they give you all these task descriptions
Mhm.
with how many hours they do that and what the cost is, and at the end they put in the total.
11,000. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay,
go with
so you
that.
want me to just go with this?
Go with that.
Okay. All right, the first one is the Wyndham Regional Commission. And it looks like they'd put in a total of 123 hours, and it would cost $11,070. The second one is from Exigency Consulting,
Did you spell that, Katie?
EXIGENCY Consulting LLC.
This is the first time of this stuff for the both of us, so I'm not much help.
Some of them are breaking it up into work hours, and some of them like a work schedule. Okay. So this is broken down into steps, step 1 through step 9, and the total is $9,250.
Okay.
This one's Seam Solutions, SEAM, from Barry Vermont. This one's broken down into hours and steps with a total project cost of $10,550.
That'd be the most bids we've received on any project in the last 2 years.
Yeah, they know why they're over there. People should not put tape on these things. Oh, whatever.
All undone nice.
Wow, okay, this is from Resilience LLC. Okay. It looks like the total for Resilience LLC is 182 hours and it's $10,000.
Katie, would you mind giving us the location of each of these companies?
Sure. I know that, okay.
One was in Barry.
Yeah, this one, Seam was in Barry, Vermont. Wyndham Regional is Brattleboro. Let's see. Exigency. I'm not sure. I don't see an address on this one. It does say that it's a service disabled veteran owned business. So I felt like I should say that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not finding where the address of this one is. It looks like they've done work all over the country.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't say it on their website.
Yeah, it's not saying exactly where.
So they're national, probably.
Yeah.
And what about Resilience?
Did they say the envelope that it came in?
Oh, Byrne, North Carolina. And this one didn't have an envelope, so I don't know.
Okay.
Is that all of them?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And just so to remind the select board that the grant that we've gotten is under 9,000, it's 800 and change, 8,000 and change.
Okay. So if
So
we,
all those bids are over what we,
we'll have to cover the difference.
Who have we used for this in the past?
Wyndham Regional. Wyndham Regional did it the last time. And they're right here and it'd be the same people.
Okay.
and their quote was 11,070.
We were pleased with their work.
Yeah, it was a full book like that. I mean, the one that I saw was well defined. And they spent hours with people from the town working through it, so. I guess the question would be how far or how much more do you want to spend for getting somebody here that's done it before, or go with the lowest bid. It's a company that's nowhere around here. Thoughts?
Is this, the hazard mitigation plan, is this to be in compliance with state? Okay.
And, sorry, what would be a part of that process?
Pretty much, pretty much everything. They go from where where hazardous materials would be picked up, where it's flood debris and how it's defined. I mean, it's pretty extensive. I can send you the old one, I have it on.
I can read you the steps if you want to hear them.
I'm good.
There was only 9 of them.
I'm just curious, what they're tackling.
With a plan like this, I would lean towards somebody more close regionally because of the variety of issues we have.
Yeah, I just assume go with the Wyndham Regional Commission. We've used them before. We were happy with their work and they did a good job and they're right there.
What's the difference in price?
Usually the rule of thumb when it comes to the town stuff is who the cheapest is usually who is awarded
That would
bids.
be the resilience, right, at $10,000?
No.
No,
It would be
the
the
executive.
extendency,
Oh,
the
but
national brand.
I don't know what, I didn't write it down, but the company that's in Barry did put in question a bid for 10,500, which is less than the Wyndham Regional, but it's still at least in the state. Am I correct on that?
I think Wyndham Regional was the most expensive one we
Yeah.
did.
And then a national company, something, and then the North Carolina company was 10,000, but the Barry company that starts with an S was potentially 10,500.
Yeah, the cheapest bid is $1,820 less than the Wyndham Regional Commission. I agree with Rob, if we're spending tax dollars on something, let's be prudent. I don't know if
There's something, I feel like there's something potentially relevant to it being more local in the sense of an understanding of the issue at hand. Whereas the Barry company is, I guess it's actually the second most pricey.
and I would imagine.
But the other two companies are not local in their pricing, based on
Well,
what
it
I'm
doesn't-
hearing.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Well, in a situation like this, you could get a hold of Wyndham Regional and let them know if they can lower their price a little bit, we'd like them to do the work. They would probably adjust.
Do you guys know, is Wyndham Regional, is that actually benefiting the county, the Wyndham County? Like if we were to be giving them our money, it would be going back into the county? Okay.
Wyndham Regional is basically the replacement for county government, because county government in the state of Vermont is almost non-existent. Meaning you don't have the sheriff's department covering your law enforcement paid by the county dispatchers. Very little comes out of us being Wyndham County. Now Wyndham Regional, on the other hand, if there's a flood, that's the first, Wyndham Regional is the first place that we go to report our damage up through the chain of command, from Wyndham Regional to the state EOC. So they filter everything, and right now, I believe no, that's different. They aid in quite a few things in town, or in the county, so.
I feel like having sat through those different meetings with FEMA and discussing some stuff with them, I felt like there was a lot of explaining that we had to do on our particular area, especially even our particular area in Vermont, on why our issues were the way that they were. And I think that was valid because there was people that had been trying to talk to FEMA about what had happened to their property during the flood, and I think there was like a little bit of a miscommunication because they were talking to somebody in Texas or something, not understanding our unique landscape, which is why I keep going back to as local as we could get.
Okay,
I think would help us the most.
well,
I feel like John's suggestion of reaching out and letting them know,
we can't do that. Not on an active thing, because it compromises us for doing something like that. If the
Also,
vote,
it's a sealed bid.
right, it's a
So
sealed
if you
bid.
start giving out what the results of the sealed bid are, you're taking away the legitimacy of it being a sealed bid. And that's when we end up with
Legal
1
problems.
to none bidding on stuff. It's because they don't feel that it's fair.
Okay, well, I guess what we can do is somebody give me a motion on something and we'll see if it passes or not.
I'd move to accept Wyndham Regional Commission's bid for our hazard mitigation plan at $11,070.
Okay,
Second.
motion and second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of Wyndham Regional, taking care of the plan, signify by saying aye.
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 Is there any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. 4 and 1. All right, that takes care of that one. Okay, common use, where are we here? We have 3.
I just want to let you guys know that this is the first time that I've ever seen any but time that we put a bid out, that it's gone to the highest bidder. I mean,
It is unusual.
once again, we're setting precedents on stuff where it's like, it doesn't,
I don't disagree, but based on the discussion, I felt like
It was a pretty thorough discussion, I personally.
I agree with you, and John, I appreciated John's insight, but knowing that we can't really have that discussion, I get it.
Okay, let's move on to the town common, town hall events. This one's from Alenka and Renee. What's her name?
Durlu?
You figured it out? What is it?
Durlu?
Okay. The Townshend School Club, and they want to have what they're calling trunk or treat.
It's a national event.
Over on the edge of the common. And that's September, or wait a minute. October 27th from 5 to 7. Any questions about that? This is going to be a school kid event.
In my opinion, it's a great event that many towns participate in, and trying to organize a trick-or-treat event for kids, especially in areas where trick-or-treating isn't particularly safe on the roads. So I think it's a great thing for the kids in
Okay?
the Townsend area to be involved in.
Need a motion.
I will make a motion to approve this request
Okay?
and waive the fee.
All right, and as your motion, do you want me to sign as the chair to approve this?
I would be open to that, yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those, any opposed? 5-0, it's all set. Next one is, this one is Valley Cares. Valley Cares wants to have a craft fair set up on the evening of November 17th. The event will be on the 18th. And it's upstairs. I think it's upstairs.
Yes, it is.
This was the one she wanted to do upstairs, right?
This is upstairs and the next one's upstairs.
Yeah, okay. So this is actually the building and not the common. Valley Cares Craft Fair. Carrie Potter is the contact person. And it is set up the evening, the 17th, and 9 to 12 on the 18th. Any problems or comments with that? Okay. entertain a motion to allow Valley Care to have their craft fair here in the town hall.
So moved.
Is there any word towards waiving the fee? Okay.
Is that a yes?
Is it a,
It's a-
is Valley Care?
Okay. I just, if we roll it into the same motion,
Yeah.
then it's cleaner.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a motion to allow Valley Cares at no fee to use the upstairs for their craft fair. The only thing I will add to that, they must clean it up and make sure that any trash that they create goes out with them.
And is the chair going to sign it?
Yes, can the chair sign this as an approved event?
Sure.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. 5-0. The last one. Which right now we're up to. And the last one is community holiday party, in December. Looks like the December 3rd. This is something that Alenka is working with the library. They'd like to use upstairs from 12 p.m. to 5 on the 3rd of December. Entertain a motion to allow them to use the town hall.
Second that?
Somebody making a motion.
Yeah,
I'll move.
okay. it's moved.
And we can waive the fee and Sherwood can sign it.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay. 5-0 again. Alright, that takes care of that. Now, we need to go into executive session on a personnel issue, and then there'll be 2 others after that. Under VSA 313B, need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved?
Second.
Alright, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Alright, 5-0.